What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Double Foot Doors. And guys, today we are starting something I'm very excited about. We're calling it Tip Tuesdays. This is our first one. This is something I want to do for a long time. I know I talk a lot in my videos, so I was like, well, maybe I should do all my information giving in separate videos. That way, if people that want to watch them can watch them. If you don't want all that extra information, that's fine. You can just watch the normal fishing videos. But today, while we're going to kick off the series, this may become a two-part video. I'm not sure. There's a lot to cover in it, but we're going to talk about summertime bass fishing. Summertime bass fishing, a lot of people don't fish near as much because it gets so hot, because the sun's straight up, it's just hot, it's humid. Here in Illinois right now, it's like the next 3 to 4 days, it's going to be like 97 to 100 degrees, just really hot. But something I want to encourage everybody to continue to go fishing, to continue to go out. I know it's really hot, but you still have the opportunity to catch some of the biggest fish of your life, and you can still catch a lot of fish. You just need to know how to do it. I'm gonna just share some of the tips and tricks I've learned, whether that be from my dad, other videos I've watched, just knowledge that I have gained and things that I have used in the past that have just really gotten me to where I'm at today. I was talking with my dad and my wife the other day, and I'm having by far the best year of bass fishing I've ever had. I've caught, I beat my PB twice. I've caught 1 or 2 fish over 5. I've caught several in the 3 to 4 range. So just overall having a great year of bass fishing. And you know, and that's through all the seasons. You know, early spring, spawn, post spawn. But even now, I'm having a great time as the weather gets hotter. And just some tips. So once again, I want to share these things and some baits that are going to be really key for the rest of the summer, the rest of the hot season, and for next year or just years to come. Depending on the weather. So first thing I want to talk about is where do bass go in the summer. So we've just come out of, you know, pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn. We all know they're sitting on beds during the spawn. We got that quick post-spawn bite where they're a little more active, and then we set into this really hot, muggy, high 90s weather where, you know, it's even miserable just to be outside. Like one of those where like you walk outside and the heat like hits you in the face. It's just really hot. And so the thing with fishing is as it gets hotter and the sun's up more, the water gets hotter. So those bass are going to react different. I equate it a lot to not exactly like winter, but it's similar in the ways of, you know, bass are harder to get to bite in winter because they want to be comfortable. They like to be cool or warm. You know, in winter it's warm, stuff like that. I equate that a lot to summer. Bass want to be comfortable. And when it's hot, they feel it too, and they can be miserable. So wherever they are comfortable at, that's where they're going to go. And this is something that's very important. What are you going to do as a fisherman? And you have 2 choices, 2 main choices at least. And before we get into these 2 main choices, let's talk about this. Bass are going to go find cover. That is where they are at right now. It is hot. They are looking for shade, cool water, and where they can eat while being in that shade. So here are the 2 choices you have. You can either find that offshore cover. That may be a tree that's out in really deep water, a pile of rocks. It could be anything that is, you know, 10, 15, 20 feet deep. You know, they're sitting out there on this cover, they're feeding out there. Or it's going to be the onshore cover, or like what I call like your grass, your lily pads, your trees that are hanging over that are creating shade. You know, logs that you can see on top of the water, that kind of stuff. So you have to pick which one you want to do. Do I want the offshore cover or the onshore cover? And I'll say this, since I pond hop a lot, I normally fish the onshore cover. You know, I would love to fish offshore cover at Lake St. Chris. I just don't have a boat or any way to be able to do that yet. I know right now they're really tearing them up out there with Carolina rigs and jigs and dropping them out 15, 20 foot of water, because that's where those fish are sitting. I've talked to several other guys I know that fish out there. But my dad and I, we just got done going just a few weeks ago, and he caught a nice 2 to 3 pounder in the grass onshore. So you just have to choose as a fisherman, which one do I want to do? Because once again, that's going to change how you fish. Offshore stuff, obviously you're going to want some different rigs, some different stuff. Now today we're going to focus mainly on the onshore cover and the stuff we're going to throw for that. So early in the morning is a great time to go fishing in the summer because it's cooler and stuff like that. But one thing is the fish are a little more unpredictable because it is cooler and that sun's not up yet. So those fish are cruising, they're feeding. But here's the advantage for you as a fisherman in the summer. When that sun gets up and that heat really hits, you know exactly where those fish are going to go. If you have a pond with a lot of grass, they are going to be in that grass all day long when the heat is up. So that gives you an advantage because you know exactly where they are. Now the thing is how to get them to bite and how to, or to, you know, just to get them to move. What baits are we going to throw? Things like that. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm really going to look into the summer pattern, like I said, the fishing gets tougher, but it's still totally worth it. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and I've been doing this all year, I caught my PB on it, not this bait, but this style of fishing. We're going to talk about punching. And right now, here's my Abu Garcia, my Veritas rod, my Revo SX. I got it rigged up with my big punching setup, my big weight. I think this is a 1/2 ounce. My big 5/0 hook, and I've got a Googan Baits Bandito bug. This is a 7-foot medium heavy rod. I flip with this a lot, stuff like that. But punching is very key, and this is what I love about punching. This is one of those styles of fishing you can use year-round. The reason I've used so much of this year compared to other years is because we had all that rain at the beginning of the year where it constantly rained, and all that stuff, like the mossy vegetation in most of the ponds I fish, wasn't appearing on top of the water, but it was sitting suspended like right underneath. And those fish, like we talked about way back in the spring when I was fishing with some frogs, they're still sitting under that stuff. We just had to go to them. And the punching rod really allows you to do that. Big heavy weight, a craw or a creature type bait, you punch through that and you just kind of pop it up like a jig. I've had a ton of success on this year. But the reason this is so vital in the summer, in fact, in my Sankers fishing video that's coming out soon, I catch a fish on this Bandito bug, is once again, you know where the fish are going. They're going to that cover. They're going to go to that. They're going to go to the shade. They're going to go to that grass. And this lets you get to them because this is going to get through all that heavy grass, all that heavy moss, all those lily pads, and go literally straight to them and be able to punch out of it. You know, kind of, you know, pop your bait along the bottom. You're going to be able to get in all that nasty vegetation, be able to pull those fish out. I definitely recommend having a big old heavy hook on it, along with a big weight. That really helps. I've also got P-line 15-pound P-line CXX on it. Just a heavier setup. I've got a heavy duty. Once again, going to be in a lot of heavy duty stuff. But this is a great weight and really easy, honestly. I mean, it's just Texas rigged. I don't even have it pinned. I don't have the weight pegged or anything like that. It's a really good style of fishing to use year-round, just to have tied on all the time. Like I said, I've used this a lot. I use these Bandito bugs a lot, and then the other bait I've used, you guys have heard me talk about it a lot, are the Missile Baits D-Bomb. So normally I really like having a creature bait tied on with these. Doesn't necessarily matter what color. I normally go, that was a black and blue. I've had a lot of success on that. I've had kind of a blue bug color I've had a lot of success on. This is like a summer craw watermelon color. So, but this is one of the ones that I would really recommend have tied on early in the year. Probably all year, honestly, until it gets into the winter. Obviously, you're going to want a little bit smaller profile, but that's really been key for me this summer. The other one we're going to talk about is something that I don't use as much. I've started to use more this year because I was using that so much, but now I'm using this just as much, and a lot of people do this, and this is a huge summertime fishing tip, is the jig. So normally I would have a like a watermelon color jig, like not a watermelon, like a green pumpkin color jig on, kind of a natural color, and I can pair it with any jig trailer. The reason I have this on black and blue is because the pond that I've been fishing at, I've been having a ton of success on black and blue colors. So I made that change that day as we went out there actually to try to catch some, and I ended up catching one. I posted that picture on my Instagram quite a bit. He wasn't very big. But let me undo this. But guys, jigs, just like the punching setup, are very key because they let you get through all that vegetation or in that grass. Like I said, when I go fishing in the summer, I look for grass. And the reason is we're going to talk about this in a second, is I normally pair it with a frog. But I look for that grass because, like I said, we know where those fish are. They're in that grass. They're in the thickest part of it, and this is going to let you get through. So this is a Strike King Hack Attack flipping jig, I think. 1/2 ounce, the black and blue color, and I've got it paired with a Power Team Lures Craw du Ver. I can never say that word.
Duvor?
I don't know. Doesn't matter. But if you go to Power Team Lures, I'll tag them below. I'm going to tag all this stuff in the description as well. I'm going to tag all the equipment I'm using today, stuff like that. But this is the jig I've been using, 1/2 ounce flipping jig. And then I've got like a little, like a June bug, kind of blue bug color trailer on. Another trailer I use, I just bought some, I haven't used it yet, but I'm going to use, is the Missile Baits D-Bomb, like the small one, the mini one. I forget what they call it off the top of my head. It might be I think it might just be the mini D-Bomb. Anyways, but once again, just like the punching setup, this allows you to get in all that tough grass, through the lily pads, through the moss. And there's multiple ways you can fish this. I hop mine a lot, just real quick little hops. You know, lets you get it through all that stuff. Sometimes I'll just do a real slow drag. Stuff like that, but Jigs are huge this time of year, and this isn't a football, this is just a flipping jig. I would also normally have a football jig tied on in case you find those rock piles or something like that you want to fish. It's just a different style, makes it stand different. Something, we'll do a jig video when it gets close to fall, but something that's really interesting is I use a 1/2 ounce jig during the summer, like we are right now. I use this a lot to flip that cover, stuff like that I've already talked about. But let me show you real quick. I got 2 boxes, so here's all my other jigs in here. So like I said, I've got a football jig. This is also a 1/2 ounce, so here's my football jig. I don't have it tied on right now, but another black and blue. I normally stick to black and blue or like this natural color. I've got a natural, this is from earlier in the year. This is the one I cut off because I was having such success on black and blue. But this is like what I would consider my summer one, so I got a lot of Craw divers, different colors in there. This is my summer box, but like I said, what's interesting for me that I've had minimal success with, I'm really going to focus on this year, is in the fall I downsize. I go to a 3/8 ounce jig, I go to a little smaller profile jig, just because I think the fish bite a little better on it. I don't know why, just something I've noticed around here in Illinois. So what I've got for the fall are these Missile Baits Ike Mini Flip jigs. So as you can see, 3/8 ounce, just a little smaller profile. I've got 2 of these, so this is my fall box. I have 1 flipping jig in here that's supposed to be in the summer box. I don't know why it's in the fall box, but there that is. It's a black and blue once again. But, and then like I said, here are the mini D-bombs that I also use as trailers. But that is another main baits to use in the summer that's extremely successful. The thing with jigs, and even with punching, I'd say, not as much with punching, but especially with jigs, bigger profile bait, bigger bites. And what I mean by that is if you tie a jig on and you're flipping that grass, you may not get like as many bites as if you were to throw something else, like where somebody may throw a bait and get 10 bites, you may not, but the bites you get are going to be definitely quality bites, a little bigger fish, more aggressive fish. So that's something to think about as you're fishing. Jigs, the bite numbers are probably going to go down, but your quality is probably going to go up. So that's something to think about. We'll go ahead and talk about this because I talked about it already, but this bad boy right here, this Booyah Pad Crasher, throwing a frog in the summer is so important. I've got this kind of frog. This is just the Booyah Pad Crasher. Another style I would use is this Toad Runner. This is the Toad Runner Junior by Booyah. It's got a whopper plopper on it, so kind of like a buzzbait type bait. Any top water, but especially frogs for me, and I'll explain why in a minute. Well, I'll explain why right now. Fishing that grass, this is going to let you get in all that stuff with the least amount of issues. You're going to be able to throw deep in those grass pockets, deep into the lily pads, deep into the moss. And once again, you know, we always talk about, you hear people talk about top water being a morning thing or an overcast thing and stuff like that. But when the summer comes, I've had great success with one of these at high noon in the summer, throwing in all that grass because that's where the fish are. Doesn't matter. They're sitting in that shade. They're not out in the... Now, I wouldn't throw this out in the middle of a pocket with no shade, no cover, no grass. But I'm throwing this in that deep, deep stuff, and if I don't get a bite, I'm turning my boat around, or I'm just walking back down the shore and I'm flipping and pitching in there. If I miss a fish on this, I'll throw it back, then I'm picking up the pitching and throwing right back in where it was. But this is so important. We've talked about frogs a lot on this channel. I do it multiple ways. I walk them back, I pop them 1, 2, stop, pop them 1, 2, stop, 1, 2. I'll change the cadence, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. This is a great bait, great hookups. You get nice fish, all sizes, lots of bites. But this is a must-have for me in the summer, especially. I've been throwing it a lot lately. Like I said, different styles of... And then the bait, I probably pair top water with this. You can use a buzz bait. I don't use a buzz bait. For open water situations, you guys heard me talk about, which did a giveaway on my Instagram, is the Heddon Spook. I actually got this one back. It had broken off. But this is the Heddon Super Spook Junior. It doesn't matter what style of spook you use. This is just the one I use. I've used in the past. I've used the rattling ones, the knocker ones. I'm just out of those right now. But these spooks are great. And the only reason why I say I pair it with the frog and I use this is because in open water situations, this is a great bait. It looks like a injured bait fish, struggling on top of the water. I caught a really nice one. I'll put a picture of it in right now. But if you guys follow me on Instagram, you saw the really nice 3 to 4 pounder I caught on this just a few weeks ago. I lost all the footage when my SD card went haywire, but I've caught a lot of fish on this bait, especially in the last couple weeks as the summer pattern's gone in. And the way I do this is, you know, it's a walking bait. It's a top water walking bait. I walk it and I pause it. And a lot of times I get the fish either hit it right when it pauses or right as I get ready to start it again. And I let it sit for 2 to 3 seconds. But the only reason why I say this is open water is obviously with these trebles, you can't throw it in the moss, you can't throw it in the lily pads, you can't throw it in your grass, you're going to get caught. It messes up your presentation. But when I'm in the boat with my dad, or I'm even on the shore, if I come to a patch where there's no grass, I'll pick this bad boy up, I'll fish that real quick, and then I go right back to the frog. Just a really nice pair, you know. And something I would encourage you all on is, you know, I have is to keep your books open. You know, I've got things tied on that I use majority of the year, you know, the punching rod, the jig, the frog, stuff like that. But don't be afraid to change. If you notice they're biting a certain color, change that color. The fish are going to tell you what they want. You know, there's been days where they won't touch that frog, but they are hitting that spook all day long. So guess what? I try to stay in open water. I throw the spook as much as I possibly can. You know, don't be afraid to be versatile. They're going to tell you exactly what they want and when they want it, and just listen to them. They'll tell you. There's so many different kinds of spooks. Like I got another one down here. Here's another Super Spook Junior. This is my other favorite color. Kind of like a bluegill-ish type color, sparkles on top, stuff like that. So, and in fact, some of these baits you guys are going to get in the 100 subscriber giveaway. So definitely make sure that you guys go watch that video, exactly what you can get, what you can win. I might even attach that section of that video at the end of this one. But guys, those are some of the main things, the main ones. We're going to talk about 1 or 2 more baits here that I use in the summer. But you know, that's a really big key for me, is don't be afraid to be versatile, stuff like that. Now let's move on to the next one. Spinnerbait. And I never thought I'd ever say that, to be honest with you. I'd only ever use spinnerbaits in spring and fall, sometimes winter. But once the warm weather hit, I put this thing away. Until Blue Line and I connected, and you guys have seen my series with Blue Line. Me and him are really good friends. We talk a lot. And the Ripjaw Lure Spinnerbait. Guys, these things are incredible. This is actually the first company that I have worked with that has supported me. I'm on part of their pro team, and I'm so glad I did. This is one of their summer series spinnerbaits, and I had never used a spinnerbait, like I said, in the summer. And when we were out there, he's like, you know, we want you to join the team. I'm like, awesome, that's great. He's like, I'm gonna send you a couple of these back. And this is their summer shad series spinnerbait. And so this is designed to be fished in the summer. And this right here, this is an awesome little piece. It's called the Kicker Blade. If you guys want to know more, go check out my video where all this is. I'll link that video at the end of this video. But he talks all about this stuff. And this little baby right here is just a game changer. It adds different vibration and stuff like that. But this thing, you look with the long tail, this thing does a really good job of looking like a shad. And I picked this thing up at fishing camp, actually. And I caught a 3-pounder in about 20 minutes on it. And since then, I will throw this at just about every pond we go to this summer. And like I said, this is designed to be fished in the summer. I fish it a little different. I do like a yo-yo style sometimes. I'll burn it sometimes. Just different approaches. But guys, don't fall into that trap that you guys think that a spinnerbait is a spring or fall only lure. It's not. I found on some days when the bite's really tough with everything else, this has been the game changer. And my wife's been with me, and she would agree. There's been days where we can't get anything to hit a D-bomb or anything else, and I'll catch 4 or 5 bad boys, 4 or 5 fish on this bad boy right here. So I'm going to link, like I said, all this stuff's going to be linked below. Go check these out, and please buy them, because they're great products. Very durable. Like I said, that kicker blade's insane. And like I said, I thought for years that this was a springtime only lure. It is not. And don't fall into that trap like I did. And like I said, I got a video where he talks about some fishing tips with spinnerbaits, and he talks about all his products. I'll try to link that. But like I said, this has kind of been my game changer this year, especially the summer. Throwing it and all that, because you can throw this in the vegetation. It does pretty good in the vegetation. And that's just, like I said, you know, it's something that I never thought about, and I started doing, and I've just done great. And the other bait I'm going to talk about, because of how you just, and this bait is so key because how many different ways you can fish it, how many different speeds you can fish it, different places you can fish it, and it is the Ned rig, and it has been taking the fishing world by storm. This is right now, I got the Z-Man, the Finesse TRD on there. I've been, not necessarily big fish, I've only caught 1 or 2 big fish on this, but I have been catching super high numbers of fish on this little bait right here. I went out one day, I think it's on a video that's on our channel, and I caught like 15 fish on this thing. Crappie caught, I mean, I just caught a bunch of fish on this. And this has been really key to me this year, just because, like I said, you can fish it so many different ways. You can drag it, you can hop it, you can go fast, you can go slow. It's just so important, and there's so many little things you can throw on this little Ned rig head. You know, I got the Finesse TRD on this right now, But one of the things that I've been using a lot is this is the Missile Baits Ned Bomb right here. And I'll pull you out and let you show it. And there's a bunch of companies starting to make fishing baits for the Ned rig. But just a little different, and I've had just as much success on this, if not more. I love the little paddle tail on it. It adds a little bit more action when it's fishing. This is a different color than what I normally use. But one of the main ways I've had a lot of success is throwing it out there and just kind of like, you know, shaking it, kind of letting it do its little thing in the water like this, and then letting it fall down, and then doing the same thing. I've been having a lot of fish eat it. It's a great numbers thing. I've caught 1 or 2, like 1 to 2 pounders on it. I've only been going to that pond that we've been trying to help that guy kind of weed out some of the smaller fish. So that Ned Bomb, guys, the Ned rig has just been very key this year as we've been fishing. But guys, that's kind of our tip video. Like I said, I'm going to link all the stuff I've been using this summer in the description so you guys can check it out. Literally links like either to probably Tackle Warehouse, or if it's a company that's non-Tackle Warehouse, literally their website. I'm trying to hurry. My camera's about to run out of storage. But guys, the main thing I would really go look into is look into these Ripjaw spinnerbaits. This is a different color, but this is also part of the Summer Shad series. Any of these baits, I would swear by them. Like I said, I've told you guys on my channel before, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. So if I say to use them, it's not to go get you guys to buy them. It's because they actually work. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the kickoff of our first Tip Tuesday series. I'm super excited to get to just kind of chat with you guys and to share a lot of the knowledge I've learned. That's all the time I got time for today, though. Guys, go enter our 100 subscriber giveaway, or at least go tell your friends so we can do the 100 subscriber giveaway. That's probably what I should say. But guys, thanks for tuning along. Thanks for listening. And like I said, just go check out all those lures. I'll have them linked below. You guys won't regret it. We'll see you guys next time.